Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Gabriel Knight, the 20th Anniversary Edition. Well, we're at the start of day 3. Grace has given us a phone book page in response to our request to find more information upon Madame Casino. Somewhere there's New Orleans phone book missing a C page. Why she couldn't just hand us the phone book and point the page out, I have no idea. But, so yes, we have this page now. And this is probably one of the more frustrating puzzles in the game. Not because of the clues we've got, but because of the rather fractured logic chain that we have to make the item work. And of course, finding a phone in the first place, because Gabriel wants privacy before doing what we're about to do, which is, well, morally questionable, if not right, illegal. So what we need to do is take our phone, use the page, and we are going to start calling every single Casino in the phone book. So the first one is 555-0127.
Hello.
Is this the Casino residence?
Yes. What can I do for you?
Do you or does anyone in your family patronize the Dixieland drugstore?
I'm a busy man. What are you selling?
Nothing.
Good. Goodbye.
Alright then. 0128.
Hello?
Hello, I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
Castro, be quiet. Who is this?
I'm a friend of the owner.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that is the old lady in question. But we don't know anything that will help us. We can't get a hold of a phone tracing device. We're not a 2038 detective. Not this game. And yet the answer is looking us right in the face. With its cute little ears and wet nose. Yes, defying all logic and coincidence, we have to call the Cajun Critters Veterinary Clinic, specializing in canine care, and hope that somehow Madame Casino's dog is taken to this one particular clinic that just happens to have its ad on the same page. Also, if this is the white pages, shouldn't it just be addresses rather than businesses? But that's neither here nor there. Anyway.
Cajun Critters Animal Clinic. This is Melissa.
Do you have a Madame Casino as a client?
Madam Casino? Sure, I know her. She's not here right now, though.
Really? She told me she'd be there. Would you happen to have her address by any chance?
Yes, but I'm not sure I should give it out. Who are you again?
Well, she's my aunt. She's won a major prize. I'm worried about Castro. Well, now we actually know her dog's name, so let's take the bluff and run with it.
I'm worried about Castro. He's missed 3 dance lessons.
Castro? Her little doggie? Oh, he's so sweet. Well, I guess if you know Castro, it's okay. Her address is 345 Dauphine.
Thanks.
So, yeah, we have just illegally acquired that personal information for our own devious ends. But that is not the worst thing we're going to do today. Not by a long shot. But first things first, we have a drawing to pick up.
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you. Man, I have been jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out for some reason. There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it. Here.
Wow. This is great.
Uh-huh, yeah, just don't, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Ah, forget it. I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it, and, good luck.
Alright, well, with that done, the reconstructed Veve, not sure how we know that word yet, was done for Gabriel by a technical artist. And yes, this is still referred to as the reconstructed Veve, even though we haven't learned that term yet. The artist's reconstruction of the voodoo murderous pattern looks accurate to Gabriel. Something about it is vaguely familiar and creepy. The move is a colorful melange. It announces the owner is Madame Lorelei and gives prices for palm readings $20, crystal ball gazing $15, and birth charts $50. Madame Lorelei lounges at her booth, fondling her snake. That's no madam! Madame Lorelei, the fortune teller, is garbed in a belly dancer's outfit and wears a boa around her neck. A real boa. Madame Lorelei seems less approachable when she's behind that booth. Well, if we walk past her...
Come on, boys, hoopla!
Not a bad idea. Baby, I love the way you move.
Madame Lorelei winks knowingly at Gabriel and twitches her hips.
Yep, she wants me.
Thanks, boys.
Now that gives us a wonderful opportunity for going and talking to her, but we need to do something else first. Gabriel examines the veil with a magnifying glass. The fortune teller's veil is studded with sequins. The sequins look a little strange. Why, it's a snake scale! The veil belongs to the fortune teller. It's covered with shiny, iridescent sequins. There's a snake scale caught on the veil. Well... Gabriel carefully uses the tweezers to remove the snake scale from the veil. This time, we're able to do it automatically without having to select it separate. Okay, so we've got the scale. The iridescent scale is hued olive green. It doesn't seem to match the scale from, like, Pontchartrain. Gabriel is a snake from the fortune teller's boa. And yes, we can put the two scales together to confirm that they do not match. And once more. Alright. Well, with that accomplished... Actually,
Madam Lorelei, is it?
What can I do for you, handsome?
How's business?
How's business? I have no time for such dull conversation, darling.
I think this veil belongs to you.
Oh, my veil! I'm always losing those things. You have no idea. Well, darling, you're such a sweetie to return a lady's delicates, and so handsome as well.
Well,
And since you have such a clear interest in fortune-telling, let me see your hands. They look so strong. Perhaps they will make both our fortunes clear, no?
I wish something would.
Strong, yes, and yet so delicate and flexible.
You don't know the half of it.
Oh, good. I see a mysterious woman in your immediate future.
Madame Lorelei winks at Gabriel knowingly.
She is a dangerous one, dark and beautiful. Oh, I see the road of your life forking, and very soon.
The blood drains from Madame Lorelei's face in an instant, sweat beads on her upper lip.
Are you okay?
There are forces. Oh, God, beware! Beware!
What is it about me lately?
Well, time for some confession, I think. And a bit of comedy, because I know you could do the confession in the original game, but I think the conversation is a little bit different this time.
May I help you, my child?
I'd like to make a confession.
All right, if it'll make you feel better.
Impure thoughts, pranks on Mosley, unpaid assistant, selfish person, overall apology, womanizer. Let's go with womanizer.
I've had a lot of women, Father.
A lot? More than 10?
Yes, Father.
More than 20?
Yes, Father.
More than 40?
Yes, Father.
Son, I don't think this is a matter for a priest. I think you need a good therapist.
If we're counting therapists, then I'm up to at least, let's see, count of the one, and this might take a while.
My son, I'm afraid my lunch break is coming on about now. Pray for forgiveness and say 20 rosaries. On second thought, when you finish the math, say that many rosaries.
Gabriel hears him leave the confessional.
I should probably add one more rosary for that while I'm at it. I've been a bad boy.
And we're about to get much worse. Because now that we know that he is not in the
I
confessional,
always wondered how the other half lives.
inside the box, Gabriel finds a priest collar and some oil used for blessings.
You never know when a priest's collar will come in handy.
Yep, we are stealing from a church for reasons that will make sense in a bit. And you'll note that we now have the Casino residence, but we're not going to go there just yet, because we have a voodoo lecture to attend. Looks like the lecture is just starting.
actually a banner heading, under which resides an entire body of distinct tribal belief systems. The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems, voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism. All of these subcults of African voodoo have certain things in common. The most important is the worship of a pantheon of spirits, instead of the single deity that the Christian and Muslim systems have. Some of these spirits are elementals. Some relate to specific tasks or places. Some represent important tribal leaders who have died. This spirit worship is what makes voodoo so easily adaptable. With all these spirits, it's no problem to add a few more. Say, for example, the Virgin Mary. At the height of tribal Africa, warfare was common. One tribe would conquer another, and the Loa, important in the conqueror's tribal system, would be adopted readily into the conquered tribe's Loa pantheon. In this way, many of the voodoo cults spread and mingled throughout tribal Africa, enriching the belief system and causing innumerable offshoots. The basis for the voodoo religion seems to be as old as man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices: animal totems, sympathetic magic, elemental spirits in the trees, the heavens, the bodies of the sick.
Toro, fight hard!
Believed by many to be the cradle of the human race. Some of the voodoo Loa may be as old as the Garden of Eden itself. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating guy.
In voodoo, the spirits are called the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa. This is called being ridden. The human worshipper is seen as a horse, and the Loa as the divine horseman. A person being ridden by a Loa takes on the characteristics of that spirit and becomes, in effect, merely a vessel for the more powerful entity. Some of the older original Africa Loa include Dambala, the great serpent god, Ezuli, the mistress of love, Papanibo, or Gede, the lord of death, Awe, the spirit of water, Legba, spirit of the crossroads, and the cruelest and most dangerous, Ogun Badagri, the lord of destruction.
I gotta get more sleep at night.
Tribe-specific Loa can have as much or more power as the more widely worshipped Loa. For instance, a particular tribe might revere highly the Loa of an ancestor who was a legendary hunter or politician. Voodoo temples are called houndfors. Their priests, houngan or bokors, their priestesses, mamaloa. In a voodoo houndfor, there's a ritual circle marked by a center pole called a poto-meton. During ritual conclaves, initiates dance under the supervision of a bokor and a mamaloa, or head priestess. The use of totems, or animal masks and markings, was not uncommon in the original African ceremonies. Now, though, all but the oldest sects have abandoned this practice. Ritual objects used during the conclaves included the ritual gourd, or asan, the ritual knife, or kubasa,
That knife gives me the chills.
the ritual whip, or fouetcash, and the ritual coffin, or seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the mamaloa for specific magical rituals. The mamaloa is the most powerful figure in any voodoo sect. Voodoo is a truly matriarchal system. Even the bokor knows his power is limited. The mamaloa is the supreme woman. She comes out of her house at night, sees many things, she tries to get butterflies, and at night she sees fireflies.
Firelight. Gabriel?
What? can't see.
Gabriel, get in.
Can't. It's too small for me.
You must get in, Gabriel.
It's not mine. Too small.
Hide, Gabriel, hide.
No! Let me out! Help!
Young man, the lecture is over.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Well, now that we've annoyed the professor for falling asleep in class...
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you've already interrupted and slept through my lecture, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treat voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
The Catholic Church has always dominated in New Orleans, and its imagery, in turn, has dominated New Orleans voodoo.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
If there's more you wish to know, perhaps you should read my books.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has been a sacred day since the earliest times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel. Huh.
Now, it's funny, I always thought the solstice was a little bit earlier than that, but I guess they don't quibble on the day when you're using a sun-based calendar.
Do you know what Capri Sancourt means?
Cabri Sancourt? Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, bulls, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
What was that translation for Capri Sancourt again?
It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of voodoo somewhat interesting, from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true voodoo practices.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African voodoo religions.
Do you know anything about veves?
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Tell me about Damballa.
Damballa is one of the major Rada Loa, also known as Damballa Wado. He is an ancient Dahomean rain god, often represented as a large boa constrictor. Damballa is the most powerful and most violent of the Rada Loa. The Rada Loa are typically benevolent, as opposed, say, to the Patro Loa. He is still worshipped heavily in Haiti, and when voodoo first started in New Orleans, The early conclaves were reportedly based on the worship of the great zombie, the great serpent Damballa.
Tell me more about Damballa.
I have extensive courses in the Loire running next semester. Perhaps you should take one of those, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about Ogun Badagri.
Ogun Badagri is one of the Patrol Loire. The Patrol Loire are much more violent than the Rada Loire. Some people believe the Patrol Loire originated in Haiti, but I have found some evidence that the Patrol Loire were African as well, though worshipped only by a small voodoo tribe, and a very bloody one.
Tell me more about Ogun Badagri.
He is a chief nasty, Mr. Knight. He is the spirit of war and destruction.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's very rare. Most voodoo practices do not include human sacrifice as a matter of record, but it is theoretically possible, if that's what the gods demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Ezuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it.
Yeah, give me that cock.
If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Ezuli is the gentlest of Loire, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Houngan tremble before a possession by one of the more violent Loire, such as Papa Nebo. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that Loire will simply take it for themselves.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
Probably.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight. I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse, in religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
Oh, no.
Fine.
Your lecture was terrific.
Oh, you think so? You were snoring so loud I didn't think you'd heard it.
You must travel a lot.
Yes, to Africa mainly.
I'm very interested in voodoo myself right now.
How nice for you.
I'd really like to know more about you.
There have been several articles written about me, Mr. Knight, as well as blurbs on my book jackets. If you want a biography, read.
What was that?
It's French.
Well, we do have one more thing to get from him.
Can you tell me anything about this?
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Mind if I copy this?
Be my guest.
Great. I'll be right back. Here you go. You know, this is a fascinating veve. You must tell me all about its origin.
Actually, I was hoping you'd tell me. Can you figure out anything about it from the symbols?
Well, some. That's why I wanted a copy. I want to research the design myself.
Have you heard of the voodoo murders?
No. You're kidding. Really? Then the voodoo is authentic. The newspapers are wrong. Boy, are they wrong.
You think this veve is authentic?
Authentic? Mr. Knight, that's like asking if the Mona Lisa is a painting. Tell you what, I'll look into these symbols myself and see what I can learn about the sect that made this. I'll give you a call when I have more information. You are associated with the police, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I'm undercover. You can contact me at St. George's Bookshop in the quarter.
All right. Now, I'd like to get started on this, if you don't mind.
Well, actually, I do have one other thing you might take a look at.
Is there anything you can tell me about the voodoo aspects of this photograph?
This is a serious voodoo ritual. Nasty stuff.
In what way?
Let's see. I can't make out much detail from this photograph, except for the corpse, of course. But the wound, the face, and what little I can see of the ritual paraphernalia... It reminds me of certain black voodoo practices. Very rare. I've never witnessed them myself, you understand.
Really? Interesting. Thanks.
So, yeah. The voodoo in the voodoo murders is the real deal. At least according to a college professor who is an expert on this sort of thing. Well, that's a bit of a major breakthrough in our investigation. And a good stopping point for now, I think. So next time, we will continue onward into New Orleans to see what else we can stir up in the way of trouble. We'll see you next time.